Let's go, Angie. You ready to get your pump on?
I'm ready. I'm Sergeant Angie Tetley.
And I'm Constable Brennan Martin.
Usually, you'll find us at recruiting events for the Calgary Police Service.
Like Run with a Recruiter, 49.
Between the two of us, we have over 40 years policing experience.
Over the course of both of our careers, we've met so many amazing coppers.
We want to share their experiences, learn from their challenges and difficult moments, and of course, celebrate their successes.
We're going to hear about real calls and investigations and the impact that they've had on the community and our members. We're also going to explore what led them to policing and get some behind-the-scenes information on the sometimes hilarious and sometimes heartbreaking and traumatic stories that happen every day in our amazing city.
Please join us while we find out why members of the Calgary Police Service have been called to serve.
Woo! I'm fired up. Let's get this going. Constable Raeann Watson, you know what's coming. First off, thank you.
No, we don't know what's coming. We never know what's coming.
Well, I think she might to a degree, because you know what you get when you get Angie and I. Super pumped to talk to you today. Of course, you're in Pamru now. You've been on the job 10 years.
Yeah.
But I've got to know you a lot the last few months, and I almost feel like we need to put down a tarp before we start, because I don't know which direction you're going to go. I don't know what's going to happen. Okay. But anyway, I don't know what the spin-off's going to end up being. I don't know what's going to happen, but maybe we should put down a tarp. I don't know.
All right, let's do it.
And maybe we can end off with your joke about the rattlesnakes.
No.
Okay.
No.
For the people that are watching today and the people that don't know Raeann, she's full of personality. She's full of awesomeness. You're going to get the PG version of her today, which is still awesome and which is still amazing. And we're excited to share your story.
Great.
Let's get going. So on the job, 10 years.
Yeah.
You did time in 3 districts and now in Pamru. Did you not do time in 6 as well?
7.
7 district, copy
yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up in a small town in BC. Your dad was a member of the RCMP and your mom was a stay-at-home mom. So let's start from the beginning. How did you even get interested in being a police officer?
Okay, yeah, so my dad, like you said, was a member of the RCMP in BC, a really small community, only 5,000 people town. He was really involved with the community and Special Olympics and our school. I have an older sister, and he was constantly in our schools and helping out with our programs. And he just was that person that everyone looked up to, especially me.
Yeah.
And I just knew from being so young, even like 7, 8, 9, 10, that I wanted to be a police officer. And he unfortunately passed away when I was 10, so I knew that I was going to carry on that dream. And, you know, like when you get into 19, 20, 21, you start thinking, what avenue am I going to take? Am I going to do RCMP? Am I going to take Vancouver? Am I going to do Edmonton, Calgary? So all these options were in my head, and all I knew is I didn't want to be transferred around. I didn't want... You know, with my dad, he was in Logan Lake, he was in Spence's Bridge, he was in Grand Fort, like he just got transferred all around, and I was like, I don't want that. So I'm gonna pick a city police service, and I picked Calgary. So that's what led me here.
I love that.
Yeah.
Angie and I often talk about the Calgary advantage, because the job itself is very, very similar, but there's so many cool things about Calgary. Our facilities is an awesome one. We have a huge campus, but access to the mountains, access to the bike and running paths, the world's best fishing, a bit of hunting if that's what you're into. Anne just has a bunch of stuff that she's interested in doing that sort of makes Calgary more important to her as well.
Yeah, and like growing up in BC, being a BC girl, like I'm sure that like we work with our partners with the Mounties in Edmonton, and all of them are great organizations, but it's like where you want to live and where you want to set down roots. So like coming to Calgary and having those mountains as accessible, which is I'm sure important to you as a BC girl, is probably really big. So when you came here, you made that decision. You got hired by CPS.
Yes.
We like to talk about people's experiences in recruit classes. So what was that like for you, moving away from your family and being here by yourself?
So yes, so again, BC to Alberta. I didn't know anyone here. It was all new to me. Going to recruit class was nice. It was, 6 months, but I didn't know anyone in there. Yeah. So on weekends, on weekends, everyone in my class was saying, oh, I'm gonna go hang out with my family, or I'm gonna go see my mom and dad, or I'm gonna hang out with my friends, maybe they're from here. And I was like, I don't know anyone here. And I felt very alone, I felt very sad, I felt Like, I really need to start developing roots and like build relationships here, because, you know, like you're just constantly, you know, in training and then at home, in training and at home, and you're exhausted and you're tired. And
Which on one hand is a benefit, because you get to go home at night.
Yes, exactly. Right, and then you reach out to your family, and they don't really know what you're talking about, right? So, yeah, so it was nice that A, we got paid, and B, we could come home. At the end of every day. Yeah.
So through the 6 months of recruit classes, I would jump to the conclusion that you probably ended up building some pretty strong relationships with the people in your class.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually still friends with a few of them today. Obviously, everyone does their own thing, goes to different districts, and you see them and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going, right? But maybe not that close. But yeah, there's definitely a few that I'm really, really close with. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So you've been on the job 10 years. A bunch of that was in patrol in 3 and 7 district. As you know, like all of us on the job that has spent a good quality amount of time on the road, there are calls that impact us, and we never ever realize the impact that we have on people. I know that I've heard after the fact, 5, 8 years down the road, people will come up to me. Have you had any experiences like that? And if you do remember that, what was that call or calls?
Well, isn't it on your list there?
It is. It's right here. It's right here.
Don't you have a
Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, right here, actually.
Yeah, so there's several, and there's lots, but one in particular is, I remember back in 2015, I was working by myself. I went to a typical or normal vehicle collision. Everyone stayed on scene. Nobody was impaired. Everyone had their driver's licenses and insurance registration. So it seems very typical, nice, easy call for me to take. And the victim, the lady that got hit, was extremely upset. And she was crying, and she was worried that her boyfriend would be very upset with her about the collision. And at the time, it just felt very, I don't know, I'll talk to him, I'll explain to him what's going on. Like, there's nothing to worry about. Everything's good. They're taking responsibility. They have insurance. It's all good here. And then the boyfriend shows up, and I talked to him, and he was okay. He was okay. But I could just tell this girl or woman was just like devastated, like, I'm gonna get in so much trouble. And I just felt that I needed to give her my business card, and I was like, okay, if anything happens, if you go home and there's a fight or there's a situation, like, I want you to know that I'm here for you. You should not be feeling this way. Like, this accident's happen, and the way that you're feeling,
and she wasn't at fault.
She wasn't at fault.
Yeah.
She wasn't at fault. So I was like, it's okay, these things happen. So gave her my business card, and that was it, right? So years go by, and I, go throughout my career and doing things. I really forget about that even happened, right? Mm-hmm. It's just so minor in my eyes at the time. And I get an email from her years later saying, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you to say, I was in, you probably don't remember me, but I was in this collision. This is the case file number. And I was in a really bad domestic relationship with my boyfriend at the time. He was very abusive to me. He had physically assaulted me time and time again. He had broken my nose. And she just goes on in this email saying how horrible this relationship was. And she was petrified that since the collision that he would like beat her up or attack her. She's like, so then I put your card on my mirror, and I left my boyfriend. And I went to school. I became a psychologist.
Wow.
And now I work with domestic victims in providing them support and getting them out of really tough situations. She's like, and to this day, your card is still in my mirror.
How does that make you feel? That is wild.
Yeah. You feel weird on the inside. It tingles your heart a little bit. You're like, wow, I had that big of an impact, right? So it just really puts into perspective. Every call that we go to may seem, like it's just like nothing.
Yeah.
You go to a call, you're like, oh yeah, it's okay, like, and you move on to the next one, move on to the next one, and you need these moments to really reflect and go, wow, I didn't really realize the impact I had on that person, right? So, not everyone's going to follow up, not everyone's going to send you an email and say, hey, thank you so much, right? But it's not just me, it's everyone, it's you, it's the people that we work with, it's the the women and the men on the street that are doing these every day, every call, right, every day. So it was just a little moment of time where I'm like, I need to be a bit more patient be a bit more calm every call I go to, and just know that this is huge for them and that this is really impactful for them and this could shift their life.
Yeah.
So,
It really is two-sided, because on the one side, because the police, we're always called to solve a problem, and it's not always the easiest problem. And so often we deal with trauma, and then the next one might be something with a child, just like attending a school and just giving a speech, and then the next one might be a disturbance downtown or in your districts. It's nice to know that even though you may not know in the moment, the ripple effect that it causes by your attendance at the scene and the fact that you give that person the time and attention, because for all we know, and more often than not, it's the very first time that they've had any interaction with the police.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
it's going to sit with them. So when you hear stories like that, I love it, because then we can share that with the membership, and then they can realize all the cool stuff that they're not aware of that they have already done for all these years.
yeah. I'm sure you have stories like that as well.
I think everybody
Right, yeah.
probably does, right?
Yeah.
And you they sort of like just float by until you actually stop and think about how lucky we are to have a career and a job where we can actually have these minor interactions with people that have significant effects on them.
It's crazy.
And sort of in the same, we talked about another call that I think, like this, the one you just described was how you affected someone else. But then we talked about another call before that affected you and your partner, right? Like how you handled with the 07.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Could you tell us about that one and like how that affected you and your partner?
So, so a call comes in on the board. Ex-girlfriend is saying, "Hey, I'm really worried about my ex-boyfriend. He just sent me a text message saying that he wants to kill himself and that I'll never hear from him again. I think this is real, and I think he's actually going to hurt himself." And he, so we're like, okay, so we have the ability to GPS his phone, right? So he sent the text message from his phone, so we're gonna figure out where he is. So it was back in the day before they had, like it was all when 7 District was all under construction, so up in the Sage Hill, all that area. And the phone was pinging or located to that area, and it's huge grassy fields and big under construction houses like that, and that's where it's pinging. So a bunch of cops go into the area, circulating in the area, and we can't find the vehicle, we can't find him. So after several hours, a bunch of my colleagues go, "I think he probably hucked the phone out the window. Like, I think that he's continuing driving, or he threw the phone out or something, like he's not here." And I just had a feeling he's got to be in here, and I could not stop looking for him. And I said, "I know he's here. Like, something is telling me, and I can't explain it. I need to find him. I need to find him." So my partner at the time said, "Okay, like if that's how you're feeling, we'll get on foot." And we walked all in the areas for hours, and we're getting messages saying, "You guys, he hucked the phone
Give it
out.
up."
Like, give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up. Like, you're holding on to something that's you don't need to hold on to." And we're like, "No." I'm like, "We got this. Come on, he's gonna be here." And we found him. We found his vehicle, and he
Just hidden in the bushes kind of
hidden
thing?
in the bushes, and he had, I don't know if I want to get into too many details of what he tried to do, but he was unconscious at the time.
Yeah.
So he had attempted to kill himself, and we were able to get EMS in the area. Hawks was above, we're shining our light, and we saved his life. And
That's
it's
unreal.
like, it just, you come into work, you put on your uniform, you're like, okay, we're gonna have a great day, just like, hoping for the best, and then you get an opportunity. And these moments happen every day at work for us, right? And I find as police officers, the public or our families never really know the impact of what we're doing, right? These stories never really get shared, and we go home, we hang up our uniform, we're like, oh, another day, another day, right?
And I love that. That's a great segue because into what you're doing right now with your job, right? So you're no longer on patrol. Now you're
Yes.
working in public affairs. So maybe tell us about why you chose to apply for that position.
Okay.
And, like what you do right now.
Okay,
It's
okay.
very interesting.
Before we do that,
Yes.
Ange, and I'm super
no,
excited
what?
to hear that. I know. No, but like I just want to talk about, you had that feeling, just like you did at the 02 call or the traffic collision.
Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from? Like, what what is your perspective on that feeling that you got, which ended up resulting in two very real situations that actually were actually
like
happening?
that intuition.
Yeah.
You know what? I know this is gonna sound weird, but I really think that my dad is like leading me, and he's like pointing me in the direction. And I know that
I believe in that stuff. 100%.
Do you?
Oh,
Okay,
100%.
okay,
100%.
okay.
I believe in that
Yes.
stuff. We're
Like-
not here by ourselves, but I just,
Yes.
like, that's just 2 calls. And who knows how many other times you've done that or other
Yeah.
police officers have done that, Ange
Yeah.
included.
Yeah.
But yeah, isn't that wild that you just
I-
knew that you could not do it any differently than the day that you did it,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Right?
That's
Look
so
at you.
cool.
Sorry,
Look at me
Ange.
go.
Back to
No,
you.
no, no, that's okay. So yeah, like you're in a very interesting position right now. So
Yes.
tell us about what you do in
Okay.
your job and sort of what led you
Okay,
there.
okay. So I work in PAMRU, so the strategic communications, and so it's based upon like social media. So I really want to showcase the work that our officers are doing, and it could be from patrol to homicide to domestic whatever our service is and whatever the members are doing in our service, to really showcase that work to the public. I don't think that it gets shown or talked about. I think we're doing a really good job with our social media. I think we're trying, really hard to really push that, out. But I'm really just trying to actively think of different ways that I'm like, I really want to showcase the great work that we're doing. So
Yeah, and I think like a couple old guys like, Brennan and I, right? We're like
You forgot Pasty.
grizzly,
You forgot Pasty.
grizzled old cops, and you probably get a bunch of,
Yes.
maybe like raised eyebrows from the fellas and the girls on the street, be like, really, like you're the Twitter cop or
Yep,
whatever,
yep,
and
yep.
and if we've learned anything through our time in recruiting, we have to keep up with
what
current
people- yes.
affairs, and social media is the way we communicate now, whether we like it or not,
Yep.
whether we're from a different generation or not, right? And
Yeah.
I think that, number one, I think you're doing a really great job.
Thank you.
And I think it's important, and I don't think we tell each other that enough. And so by you showcasing the awesome things
Yeah.
that our officers are doing every day, and some of them are like, I don't want to be on social media.
Yeah. Oh
Don't-
yeah.
don't take my
don't worry. I
picture."
get a lot of that too. Yeah. Oh yeah.
But you find a way to
Yeah.
tell their story without maybe putting their picture on
Yeah.
social media or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree the last few years have been really trying when it comes to social media, where we have celebrities or professional athletes or people who we admire in one
Yeah.
way or another, and there's anti-police sentiment on social media. We're in recruiting, and we got to promote this profession of policing,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
so we are all working together to do that, and I
Yeah.
think that the job you're doing really helps that, and I think you're doing a great job. First of all,
I think you're doing a great job.
Oh my God, thanks.
So the reality is that what you're doing is actually giving perspective to the population of
Yes.
Calgary and beyond out there, that the
Yes.
police are actual human beings, and the stories you tell are awesome, and it's important that we do that because the police attend an incredible amount of trauma out there, from death, like with the suicide attempt call that you were
Yeah.
speaking of earlier. More often than not, we attend those scenes where they're successful.
Yes.
And I don't care who you are, when you see that stuff and you smell it and you drink in that scene, it stays with you.
Yep.
It may
Yep.
not stay with you for then, but it stays with you forever, and eventually you will remember those kinds of calls. So the fact that you're sharing the stories about our membership and the hard work that they're doing, and you're showing that they're actual people going and doing things that matter to the community, I love it.
Yes.
It humanizes the police, and that's what Ange and I are all about.
Yeah.
I think it's we're so fortunate too in Calgary. Like there's a very small but very vocal population that like to talk smack on social media and stuff like that.
Yes.
But truly, we have an incredible support from our community, which
We
we're
do.
all super grateful
Yes.
for. Like
Yeah.
right, and there's
There's a little bit that comes in,
and so
sneaks
I find it very
in.
interesting because I see you almost every day in the
Yeah,
change room
yeah.
after the gym, right? And every day you're putting on your vest, you're putting on your uniform, you're like, hey, Ange, it's going to be a great day, right? And so this is coming from the woman that reads all of the terrible comments.
And then I go to the comment section and be like, today was going to be a good day.
Yeah,
Why am
yeah.
I saying this?
You gotta read mean comments.
But
Do
I
I?
think it's
Oh,
awesome.
no.
The point I'm trying to make is that you have this positive outlook, even
Yeah.
though you get that sort of garbage fed on you every day, and
Yeah.
you have to go through them and you have to read them and sometimes respond, whatever. And that's a really tough job. So how do you stay so positive, like when you actually are dealing with that every day, right? Like whether, everyone does it differently. If you're on patrol, we're going to deal with different sort of criticisms or whatever, but for you to have to read those comments, which I know about myself, like even when I just look at the Calgary Police social media, I take it personally a little, right? So how do you stay positive?
Okay. This is what I do. So I grew up with not some nice things that have happened to me, right? And now I'm in a really good spot. So even though there's a bad comment or something happens that is not so great, I always reflect and I go, I've been through a really bad time in my life and now I'm in a really good spot. So I'm not gonna let the negative comments bring me down or this bring me down or, this incident happened or this conflict at work. Like, I've been through worse. I'm gonna continue to strive and be better and continue to grow. And
it's a choice.
It's a choice.
Yeah.
So Angie and I talk about that often. It's the red pill or it's the blue pill.
Yeah.
You're not in control of the comments, just like we're not in control of the comments when we're at scenes and all these other kinds of things.
Yeah.
The one thing that we are in control of is our reaction to it. So we can choose to make that negative association and go down that road, and nothing good comes from bad stuff, for sure. Or you can go the other way, the blue pill or whatever you choose, and choose to just take your day forward in a positive way, because you can't control that.
Yeah, no, you guys see me and I'm all positive, then I get in my truck and drive home and just
Put the Slayer on full blast. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. So where do you? So you've been in Pamaroon for how many years now?
how many years? Just since July.
Oh, just not even a full year.
Yeah.
Awesome. So where do you see yourself in your career? You got 10 years on, right? So where do you see yourself in, say, the next 5 years on with CPS?
Winning the lottery. Oh, with CPS.
Oh, right.
Okay. It would be nice to work with domestic victims.
Oh, nice.
I think that would be probably where I want to go.
That's right.
Like in an investigative type role?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the
eventually.
cool things about CPS is you're kind of the master of your own destiny. So if you put the work in and you put the effort in, then you can choose one of the 150 specialty units that we have.
Well, what
right?
about
So-
recruiting? Are you accepting applications or?
Yes.
Her boat's already full with this guy, and she's bailing water as she speaks.
No, I don't know. This job is awesome.
It is.
I
It
love
is.
our job.
It is the best. I know for sure that wherever you land, you're going to have a massive impact. Because I've only known you a short time. I really like you. Ange really likes you. We talk about you all the time and about all the good, positive things that you're doing. But I especially like it when people choose like DCU or child abuse or ICE. We just spoke with Detective Dean Jacobs there last week informally, and the stuff that involves actual person crime, that stuff's really important.
Yeah.
And so we need people in those roles that are really all in on it, because they will have such a huge impact, and that will be you. Just don't forget, keep your spark. Don't ever lose your spark, because it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the rapid questions and wrap it up?
Rapido!
Ooh, let's see how good these are.
Rapido!
I can read them right here. It's not really rapid because I can read them all.
Well, maybe we'll make them up as we go along.
Okay.
Favorite joke?
No.
No, we're gonna pass on that one. Okay, check. We'll come
No,
back.
any non-dirty jokes.
We'll come back to that one.
I don't
No
know any jokes. I
non-PG.
don't know any jokes.
All right. One thing that Ange and I talk about lots, and we'll alternate here, but on night shift, sometimes we eat less desirable things, and sometimes we have stuff. Oh, that was pretty darn good.
Yes.
So, what was your worst night shift meal, snack, biggest regret?
Okay, well, it's always
Instant code brown.
Okay, it's always Denny's.
Okay.
Yes.
You don't eat Denny's at 3 in the morning, but everyone eats Denny's at
Yeah.
3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Denny's.
That's a good
Okay,
choice.
copy.
And best night shift snack?
Miss Vicky salt and vinegar chips.
Really?
Those are the
Yes.
best.
Well done.
Those
you
are
like those?
quality.
I can't have just one. I have to eat lots.
okay.
I'm either all in
These
or all
rapid
out.
questions are very slow.
Yeah, they're not so slow. Okay, best vacation, go.
Best vacation. Hornby Island. On the island. Hornby Island
what?
on the island.
Doing what?
Just camping, relaxing, doing nothing. I like that.
Favorite thing to do on your days off?
Hang out with my dogs, go walk them and run them.
Oh, lucky dogs.
Yeah.
All right. this is something that you'll have a second to think about,
Okay.
but it's rapid, so maybe not that long.
'Kay.
Any last word or message that you want to share with the membership or with the public? Because like our objective is to share this on YouTube and through as many venues as we possibly can. So any last word or last message?
If you're thinking about a career in policing, I think it's a really great career. I've enjoyed mine. Just know you need to have a lot of supports, have family supports, have good friend supports, have a good counselor maybe, right? Just
100%.
really look out for yourselves, work out, stay healthy. That's what I recommend.
Choose the blue pill.
Yes.
Choose the blue pill. I love it.
Awesome.
All right, well, as this wraps up, we'll just continue talking because no doubt it'll be fade to black. But if you wanted to share that rattlesnake joke.
So
Let's go, Ric Flair, baby! Woo!
just made teen jump.
I love it.
Oh my
I
God,
warned
my
them in
heart,
advance.
Dear my heart.
Oh, I love
Is
it.
everyone okay back there?
Over to you, boss lady.
I think Raeann is awesome. And I'm not kidding. Every day she comes into the change room and she always has she's hilarious. She always has a funny joke. And I think she's in exactly the right position, being like someone who represents us as members of the CPS in her position. And I like we talked about, that there's the naysayers on the street that, give that sort of realm kind of the thumbs down, like she's not a real cop. She is, and
No.
she's done great work on patrol. And I think that what she's doing and what her team is doing is only helping us as police officers, like in Canada. Not just with CPS, but having those positive stories
Yeah.
told, and that positive attitude and the positive spin on what our members do every day is so important. We always hear the bad stories. We always hear the bad stories.
In the news.
In the news. And it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if it's any police officer anywhere in the world does anything wrong or does something wrong or doesn't do something, we all get lumped into that same category. So having someone that speaks for us on that sort of larger platform I think it's super important. And I think she's doing
What's
great
the
things.
objective? The objective, she's up there, she's trying to tell awesome stories about cops. She's trying to do positive things. She's chosen the blue pill. She's a very positive, awesome, super energetic person, even more so after a little bit of dry scoop. But that's what we want to show. So for all the members that are out there watching, you're out there somewhere, just know that you're appreciated, know that you're supported, and that we want to share those stories. And that's the whole purpose of this Call to Serve podcast. We want to humanize the police, and she's already doing that, and she's doing an amazing job. You just never know the impact that you're going to have. I've been on the street and downtown, and people will come up to you years afterwards, and they'll say the same thing. And it's nice to know, because more often than not, we deal with that human trauma, that suicide call, that domestic assault, like bad one that you attend, and you see the trauma and feel the trauma on people's faces. And then right after that, you have to go to a school.
Another one, right.
And you have to talk to a class. Like, you're constantly turning the switch on and off.
Totally.
So patrol is the hardest position that there is within the CPS, and we want to share their awesome stories.
Yeah, and I hope that anyone watching who's considering a career in policing maybe saw something in Constable Watson that they might see in themselves, right? So we're all different. We all have different stories, and I hope that they are able to take her story and maybe see something they're like, I could do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I really like that idea. While we're on it, was there any late night meals that you regret?
No, I eat very healthy all the time.
Really?
Nice try. Nice try.
We had a particular restaurant that we would attend in the district from time to time, and there's a little extra MSG in there, and that is flavor. Anyway, I've had more than my share of runs back to the
Well, anyways,
office.
I'm really excited to hear more stories and to speak
Yeah.
to more of our members, and I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Anybody that's out there that knows a cop with a great story, we want to know it. Have them reach out to Angela Tetley, hashtag Angie Tetley on LinkedIn. Is that right?
No.
No? Oh. I don't know. I don't do that. I don't do the TikTok. I don't do all these different kinds of social media. I don't know anything about this stuff. So,
All right, wrap it up.
all right, over and out. Good job. Next time.